And also they award their cohorts a scholarship to the space camp in Huntsville, Alabama. So with no further ado, I will let Czarina take it over, and thank you all for being here.
Hi, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Deanna, for having me here. I'm just going to go ahead and pop up my screen really fast so we can get that done, and hopefully we can optimize that for video. Okay, so hello everyone. Can you see my screen? Oopsie, go back. Yeah, it looks good. Hello, I'm Czarina Salido. Are you really quick? There's someone admitting into the room. Should I take care of that? You guys have that. Okay, got it. Thank you so much. Okay, my name is Czarina Salido. I am Purepecha on my mom's side, and Yuema on my dad's side. I'm in beautiful Tucson, Arizona. It's pretty warm today. It's actually, about 75, I think. So it's really nice out. This is the land of the Tono Orum and also of the Basquayaki. So I just want to recognize our ancestral land. I am the director of Taking Up Space and the founder of the nonprofit 501(c). And what I do is I teach STEM to Native American girls for 36 weeks. And after 36 weeks, we send them to an all expense paid week at Space Camp in Huntsville, Alabama, where they can train like astronauts.
Hi, Mom. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I love you.
So these were the first cohort of girls. We had 3 when we started from here from the Yaqui Reservation. Right here, they're 8 and 9. They'll pop up later and you'll see how much bigger they've gotten. And they were just little teeny, so cute back then. But they got to go to space camp for the first time. And the reason why we're doing this is because, as many of you may know, Native American girls and girls in general lose interest in STEM after junior high. So we knew this and we tried to find a way to get girls interested in STEM. So it's not only just that, but Native Americans haven't had any growth in tech jobs from 2014 to 2018. And Native American women have the highest murder rates, Native American children have the highest suicide rate, and they have the highest dropout rate. So it's pretty tough for this group of kids. Here is Dottie Metcalf. She is an astronaut and she also went to space camp. So she's got a couple of words of advice for us.
When you're up in space and you look down on Earth, what thoughts about humanity did you have, about how we should treat each other, and what message would you give us Earthlings?
One of the reasons I enjoy being a high school teacher and I just continue to work for human rights is that I do believe that each person has the capacity to learn and to become what they are meant to be. And so when I was in space, I think it just deepened my beliefs. Like, I already held those beliefs. Also, it does make you realize, like, there are parts of the earth that are very vulnerable. As you're from Arizona, you know that water is very important to your state. And there are many places just like Arizona that are water short. And so those of us that have water-rich areas need to learn how to respect the resources we have and make sure others have those resources as well. And then to also value the things that we have and make sure that we recognize why it is capable of causing wars and challenges in our world, and just, I think, trying to empathize with people. So it's a beautiful planet. It's a planet that I love. Try to respect it and respect the people that inhabit it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys can hear that okay, right? Yeah. Okay, so and behind her is Space Camp. And as you can see, you have the screens, you have Paycom, you have GNC, and on top you can see your screens. So this is mission control, that the kids can actually put on the headphones and interact with the people on the shuttle. So why is this going on? What is up with these girls not going into STEM in junior high? Unfortunately, we don't really know, but we do know there's a couple of factors. Gender stereotypes. I know when I was little, I knew that the boys were the ones who, played sports and were good in math, and the girls were doing stuff like home ec and nursing. When I did get into physics and more higher ed classes, they were mostly male dominated, and I was one of the few, if not the only female in class. Role models, we have some really great role models right now, actually. So there are fewer though, but if you look, there's tons of really great role models, but they're just not so out in the open. And then there's math anxiety and the gender gap, which has a lot to do, once again, with the stereotypes. One thing I didn't actually mention here is also during junior high, your body changes. So there's a lot of stuff going on with these little kids, and STEM, science, tech, math, it just really seems low on the priority list than, boys and girls and showers and going through puberty, quite frankly. Okay, so there's a lot of wordage on this. I'll just walk us through. So when we started the program, we found out some things were working and some things weren't. Guest speakers. It is so much fun to have guest speakers on. I teach STEM, but there's only so much I know. So when we bring in guest speakers, we bring in females that are usually Indigenous and are usually brown. So that way the girls get to see these role models. Consistency. 36 weeks is a lot of weeks to teach, and we're there every Tuesday. But I found that in the beginning, if you're just going once a month or even, biweekly, if it's not consistently at the same time, you're going to lose girls. There's something about having every Tuesday now for the past couple of years. They know we're going to have class, and it's going to be, if we have to change it, it's always just going to be around that time. So now they have that sense of security, knowing that we are consistently doing this 36 weeks straight. We even go through Christmas. But Christmas is like, fun party time. Sense of pride. The girls, when they see these other women and they see all the things that they're doing, we have graduate students, we have astrophysicists, we have geologists. So they're a wide range. We have actors that are do STEM communication. So that confidence of seeing like, hey, there's someone who kind of looks like me who's doing this. Maybe I can do it too. That sets up our next thing that is really important, which is our safe space. Safe space sounds like, what is safe? How do you make safe space? What is that all about? Well, it doesn't come easy because it comes with the other things. It comes with the trusting, knowing that we're going to be there every Tuesday. It comes with knowing that they can talk to me about things and I will not criticize them. I will take it and just sort of we'll talk through stuff. So there's no boys allowed. So they don't ever have to worry about boys popping up or making fun of them. They do make fun of each other though a lot, but it's a little different. They tease each other. Movement. The other thing that I noticed, and with me included, is when the girls were learning the STEM portion, our girls, half an hour of STEM, they wiggled. Oh, did they wiggle? And they were moving around in their seats. And so we decided to do a dance break right in between, right after we do our STEM. We have the girls pick a song, or sometimes our guest speaker will pick a song. And the girls have this, once again, the sense of pride, the sense of safety, because they get to actually pick the songs that we're dancing to. And then we push out our chairs and dance and wiggle. And I don't know about you, but sometimes dancing can be a little bit embarrassing. You gotta have some confidence. So this dancing isn't just to get the wiggles out of them. It's also to get them, body positive and used to their bodies and used to dancing and used to just sort of not taking themselves so seriously, especially at this age. The music, as I said, is important because they get to choose the music, and they're always choosing these great female-led songs like Brave and Katy Perry. So it's really cute to see what they pick, and it's interesting to see how they've evolved even in their musical tastes. Shockingly, one of their favorite songs to sing is Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. These girls are like 8, 9, 10. I think it must have been in a movie or something because they're singing Bohemian Rhapsody. Our next thing that we do, so we have our STEM, we have our body movement, positivity, and then we move over to art. Arts, I found very important accidentally. When I first started this, I was at the clubhouse in Boscoyaki, and coincidentally, every Tuesday, they had art in the library. They had some sort of cultural project. So we would do our project, and about an hour later, the library would do the project. So we would have our STEM, and then we'd walk over, it was the same building, and we walk over to the library, and there was some project going on where we could make like birds, or we heard stories. We did just fun cultural stuff. And I noticed that the girls talked. You know, while we're doing STEM, you have to focus, you have to pay attention, otherwise you might mess up on your experiment or get something wrong math. When we're doing art, the girls just started opening up to me, and they would just start telling me about their day and about other kids at school. So I found that this time, this creative time, helped the girls kind of open up and just really had a dialogue that we wouldn't have had if, say, we just did the STEM or if we just did the dance. It was all of it put together that just kind of created this really nice, safe, artistic, sciencey environment. So that was super fun. And then I get to mentor the girls. So because I don't know all the science stuff, I do have physicists and architects and astronauts come in. My job that I love doing is mentoring them. And that just means that I listen to them, I pay attention. If I make a mistake, I make sure I let them know something's wrong. Every week, we start off with asking how they're doing. And we do highs and lows. What's the high part of your day? What's the low part of your day? That gets them talking, and it gets them still, when you get kids in the class at first, they're a little bit, kind of shy, kind of just waddling in. But once you start asking them and thinking about personally how they did, then the other girls also become interested, and they're like, oh yes, that happened to me too. I had fights. Fights still happen at school, and I find, we'll find out about it. Family. Now, the thing that just ties all of this together, that just seems to be the cherry or on top, or the icing, however, is family plays a huge role. Every week I send the family what we did, tell them what we're doing next week. The little sisters sometimes will pop in when we're dancing or doing story time or art projects. They'll start popping in their heads and dancing with us and doing work with us and doing art with us. Grandpas. One of the girls' grandpa is an artist, and he does amazing work that he has like rock art, rock animals, and then he fills them in with Native American patterns. So we have the little ones, the little brothers and sisters coming in, dancing with us. We have the parents being very well up to date, whether they read the emails or not, it's not the point. The point is that they get updated with what their girls are doing. And then we have family come in. So in the end, my mentoring role sort of feels like I'm an auntie. I love the kids. I tell them I love them, so that way that they feel that. So it ends up being, I don't want to say intimate, but it really does create this this sense of where I know the girls' personalities, and the trust factor is what's important, because in the end, I am taking their kid to Huntsville, Alabama. And some of the girls, we have 6 tribes: Apache, Chickasaw, Cherokee, Dene, Ojibwe, and Yupik. And that's all the way from Alaska to Minnesota. So they're little ones. They're 9, 10, 11 years old, are having to travel, some of them for the first time on a plane, to be with a stranger. So that takes a lot of trust in the parent to be able to put your kid on a plane in an airport. So that's why every step ended up being important, so that we could create that trust with the parents and the kids. You don't know if a kid wants to come out and be with you for a week. So that having the 17 week, it's half and half, 34 weeks altogether. Having come in, what's not worked is setting up the time. It's not always that easy to schedule your mentors, and since we're so long, things pop up. So we always have to have a backup plan. We're always, backup plan everything in case somebody doesn't show up or in case something happens. with the Yaqui kids, I found out, and could be different for other teachers and for maybe other cultures, but I found out when I split the girls apart to either give them praise or to let them know that they did something that was disappointing. When they split up, they kind of like ganged up on me almost. It was like it just didn't work out. But when I talked to them as a group, whether it was good stuff or bad stuff, excuse me, the other girls saw, oh, she's getting in trouble, or oh, she's getting praised. So we really saw, excuse me, that separating the girls for any reason just didn't seem to work out. It seems like they really enjoyed being in a group and they really are there for each other. One more second, sorry. The other difficulty that we've had is as the girls get older. So we have the girls for 3 years. Found out, 1 year of something, it could stick. 2 years of something, now you got some background. 3 years, well, then you've learned something, after 3 years of doing something. So they get to go to space camp for 3 years. And not only is it space camp, but it's also aviation camp. So usually the older girls are going to go to aviation camp. And that's, it's an older thing because they get dropped off in the middle of the forest and then they have to find their way back to camp. They also have aviation camp also has you in like a little helicopter cut out, and then they dump you in the water and you have to escape. So for the little ones, it's a little too much, but for the big ones, they love it. It's just so much adulting, that they get trusted to be dropped off and trusted to be underwater. But the connection still, my older girls, the ones that you saw in the beginning, the little teeny ones, they're now older and they are now in high school. And it's been a little bit difficult keeping them interested in STEM. They're around wanting me around them, but they don't necessarily want to learn STEM. And so I'm having to be a lot more creative to get them to do STEM and to help out, like pay them as a job now. Now their job is to, come with me to an event and help me with my event planning. So so now we're getting into an older phase of girl. And the outside influences are hard too, because these they're kids now. They run around and do pretty much as they wish now that they're that age, but not the little ones. The little ones are still under parent supervision and still, coming to class every week. Although the other ones, once we're done with 3 weeks, that's it. We do other stuff with them, like mentoring and coming out to events. How to do it better. So a couple of things I know we need to do better. Prompts, to have something a little bit more solidified all the time. We kind of go off key a lot of times. We just sort of take it wherever class goes. And I think I'd like to have a little bit more structure in it. I know the knot structure is kind of fun, but that we'd like to have more partnership with Native Americans, more partnerships with people in STEM. One thing that we do that I'd like to continue doing is playing to individual strength. And what I mean by that is each girl so right now we have 8 girls, and then the other ones have graduated. We've sent, after this year, we've sent 15 to space camp. But I have 8 right now, and they're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And they're all very smart and very unique. You've got, I tell them all the time that each of them are leaders. They're all very strong leaders, but they have a different leadership type. You have someone like Sky, who's tall and quiet and strong. And you can ask all the girls always, like, on the plane, Sky, can you lift up my suitcase up to the thing? So they trust her in that part. And so she's strong. And then you have someone like Alana. I'm very proud of her. She just got put into the very gifted program in Alaska. She loves talking. She's so sweet and she loves talking. So she leads by her sweetness and by talking. You have someone like Felicity. We call her Pickles. she says the funniest things all the time. And so each girl, I can tell, I can go down the line of each girl and say what her strengths are, what her weaknesses are, and they know that, and they know that no matter how different they are all leaders, and they can also follow too. As I said, I would like to get some more teachers to have different perspectives. Perhaps meeting more often would be a good thing. We meet once a week, maybe twice a week would instill a different sort of level of STEM. Different cultures. As I said, right now we have 6 different tribes. Getting other tribes, there's about 260 some tribes, and right now we have 6. This is another thing that we've been thinking about for future stuff, is what would happen if we teach the boys the exact same things that the girls are teaching. So we have a boys section that it's pretty much, not exactly right, because we have to play to the boys' strengths. We have them doing the same thing, and then at the end of the semester, say for the last few weeks, we merge them together, and hopefully, this is in the future. What I would like to see is the girls right now are very like, ew, boys. And the boys are also like really like pokey and stuff to the girls. Like when you take them to space camp, there's always tension. So it'd be interesting if you had a group of boys that were learning the same stuff, and they were, we call our girls of Indigenous excellence, because they're smart, they're kind, they're talented. They have, most of them, actually all of them play instruments. So if we get this group, then maybe the girls can say, oh, not all boys are stinky. And maybe the boys can say like, oh, maybe all girls aren't, whatever stereotype they have for them. And so that way they can kind of learn from each other and see that there is an echelon, or there's students that are of either sex, or whatever, that are interested in STEM and aren't going to poke you and call you a nerd. So this is methodology. So this is what we're doing. The procedure in class: we set up a safe place. As I said, we make the environment comfortable. Sometimes I let them take over Zoom. I let them play around with, there's all sorts of fun features on Zoom. And so they get to play with them, and they teach me things too. We do hands-on STEM projects. Danelle Horgan, she is Arizona STEM Amazing. She has the coolest experiments that you can do on Zoom with your kids and be hands-on. And we're just all working together, building rockets. There's something so easy as putting in a hexagon nut inside of a balloon and spinning it. Depending on what's inside the balloon, it makes a different noise. There's just so many things that you can do on Zoom with kids that perhaps, we don't think about it, but if the kids are interested in it, they'll do them. And we're doing all this online, and we have to wait, just like in class. You have to wait for someone to catch up. You've got to wait for the other person to slow down. So we're doing these projects, and then we're adding the art. And at the end, we not only do art, but we do storytelling. Storytelling has been one of the most important things in here too, because when we do the art and math and the STEM, I see it all just as storytelling. You have to be, girls often say to me, are you tricking us to do math again? It's not a trick. I'm just teaching math in a way that's, a little bit different than just hard numbers. We're adding stories. I have a story, actually, if we have enough time. Oh yeah, we have one, that I'll read to you, and so you can see kind of like how it adds to our lesson plan. And then, as I said, we check in with the girls, make sure they're doing okay, make sure sometimes they have a math test, sometimes they have, I'm so sad. One of the girls' pet fish died, and so Tuesday she was sad that her poor little fish Carrot died. So, we get to find out just about all the things that are going on with the check-in and the Zooming. We set weekly goals. We make sure, what are you're hoping to do for this week, and then we check in next week to see how they did with their goals. Then we go ahead and start our STEM lesson. Like I said, we do our dance break halfway through, and then we switch over to the Indigenous cultural side. And then sometimes the girls don't want to get off. Lots of times the girls don't want to get off. They want to stay and hang out with each other. They actually stay for, sometimes it goes to 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2.5 hours. They just, like to be with each other. A thing that I've learned from teaching Native American STEM that I had no idea about this, so I thought maybe someone would like to learn, is equity. I kept hearing the term equity. And this is a cute little way to explain it with inequality. And we know inequality, someone gets the apple and someone else isn't. And then equality, we like to say that then we have everything equal. But as you can see, sometimes when you have equality, it's not equal. And that's where our equity comes in. So now we have the two little guys, and now our little guy who didn't get our apple is starting to get some apples, just like our girls are starting to get their tools. However, in order to make it fair, and in order for everyone to have the equity and to have justice, is we fix the tree, we make it fair, it's equal. So our equity is a term that I just wanted to put out there that I've heard, and we use it now. So social equity. Social equity is what the kids have socially. Here is Eileen Collins. Woohoo! We'll see her later. Down here at the bottom is Captain Star Eagle. She is the first Native American in the Space Force. As you know, Space Force just got created to be the next force of for space, obviously. Up above that is President Nez, and he is the president of the Navajo Nation. And then over to the other side is John Harrington. John Harrington is the first and only Native American in space. So we're hoping that maybe one of our girls will be the next Native American in space, if not sometime sooner. So now these girls have people like this in their lives. Captain Star Eagle really took to Maya and gave her number, and now they talk. So it's equity is now being their social equity, because now they have people like this in their lives. Another thing, these kids, it was the first time on a plane. They hadn't been to the airport before. They hadn't been on a plane. I'm now confident that my two older ones in back could go on flight by themselves. They know going to the airport, you have to look at the board, you have to find everything. And so I make sure when we're flying that if something happens, they could not get lost, but also to teach them how to fly, teach them, what it's like. It's scary to be in an airport, you don't know all the rules. There's tons of rules. So I like to teach them what it's like to fly for the first time. And of course they got into the cockpit because they're super cute and they asked, and the pilot was really nice. So another thing we do in our spare time is sometimes we'll watch space flights, the space test. This is a SpaceX test when it first went horizontal. And as you can see, we're just like, wow. And this was, I think, like an early Saturday morning when we just met to see this. And now I would like to introduce you to our girls and why, and this was before they went the first time, and why they wanted to go to space camp.
My name is Ryan. I'm 11 years old, and my culture is Dene. And why I'm so excited to go to space camp is I get to experience this at such a young age. And it's a 3-year scholarship. And the more you grow, get older, the more you do more advanced stuff that seem really fun. And it's space. What's there not to love?
My name is Jordan. I am age 11. I am Cherokee. And I'm excited to go to space camp because not a lot of Native American girls can go to space camp.
Hi, my name is Felicity Trujillo, and I am 9.5 years old, and I am Chickasaw, and I am excited to go to space camp because I'll get to learn new things there.
My name is Sky Cabanis. I'm 12 years old. I'm Apache, Caddo, Navajo, and Kiowa. And I would like to go to space camp because I like learning about space. It's fun.
My name's MAHATE. I'm 10 years old. I'm at Navajo and Chickasaw.
and I want to go to space camp because I think it would be a very good opportunity for me to learn more things and have adventures.
Hello, I'm Alana Crooks. I am Siberian Yupik. I am 10 years old, and I'm excited to go to space camp because I've always wanted to be an astronaut since like first grade.
My name is Subi Alwas. I am 10 years old. I'm from the Lakota Ray Band of Ojibwe. I am excited to go to space camp because then I can see my friends in person.
Aren't they cute? Aren't they cute? So that was our first, yeah. So after class time, I was saying this is just some of the silliness we have.
I was trying to say crown.
Crown. Oh, I kept hearing
I don't know.
crown.
You guys are singing when you're like.
This one's funny. Okay, we'll do one more, and then we gotta go. Okay. The no teeth one.
Yeah,
okay. Okay, let's try it. Okay, let's concentrate, guys. This time. Okay, we're gonna pretend that we got this. Subi, go ahead and start us off.
Water.
Storm.
What did they say?
I used storm.
Oh, wind.
Okay, so what we were doing, this is kind of fun, and I would say, like, if you ever get bored and just want to have some fun, is try to talk without showing your teeth. And then yeah, it's super, yeah, but it's really hard and it sounds really weird. And so we have a competition. And so we did it like each person had to say a word that, was something to do with the other thing. So we were like, Walla. It's really hard. It sounds so silly. This was our end of class time. So we're just tired. We're just goofing around, like, something like that. So a fun game to play with your kids is talking without seeing your lips. So here's part of our project. This is Suvi's grandfather, Mr. Coons. He is a well-known space artist. He drew all of these animals to the left right there. And they weren't like a sheet of paper. They were big poster size animals. And the girls were instructed to draw a story and their storyline in there. So, and here's some more art projects. This one to the left is one of the astronaut's widows, Alan Bean's widow, gave us a full scholarship for one of the girls. So as a thank you, we drew, he was also an artist. So we kind of copied his art and put Space Camp in the helmet instead of the moon, where he had a reflection of the moon. But that's very similar to his artwork. In the top one, I asked the girls to do perspective and what kind of perspective they would have if they were looking out from space to Earth. And I thought this was really cool. I was like, wow, that's nice for a 10-year-old. And then the bottom one is Alana's, and I just thought it was really good work. And so I found out by doing art that they're really talented. I mean, it's just, who knew? Okay, so here is a Felicity. One thing that we do at the end of the program is I had them do a write-up, a presentation of what they've learned so far and what was their favorite thing. And the other thing that they had to do was come up with an experiment to do in space. So I'm just going to show you a quick little Felicity's.
My slides are called Felicity's Adventure. My adventure of my adventure during this space and pandemic. Hello, I am Felicity Trujillo. I am a part of the Chickasaw Nation, and I am 9.5 years old. And this is me building a snowman, and my snowman's name is Pickle. That's why I named him. So this year I learned that you can do anything you set your mind to. I learned about coding, technology, and space and astronauts this year. My favorite part of this adventure has been meeting other Native American girls and making new friends like science and astronomy, if I'm saying that correctly. And my favorite guest speaker was John Bennett Harrington because he was the first Native American in space, and he is Chickasaw, just like me. This is my drawing, my story, and I kind of messed up with a metallic pen right there. It kind of leaked. So this is that beautiful mountain I see every day over there, and I live in New Mexico. So and this, when I moved here, this is where I got my passion for space and technology and coding, and looking forward to the future.
That was hers. Hers is she wanted to do a flower in space. That's, I guess, a little tricky, but so here's MAHATE.
Should I share my screen?
Yes, please.
And with her is Nicole Stott. So Nicole gave us
Can you see this?
a project to do artwork for her to put on her spacesuits.
Good. And then just present for us.
Can you see it?
Looks good.
Mine is called MAHATE's Journey in Space, and actually my brother suggested that. Hello, my name is MAHATE. I'm Navajo and Chickasaw, and I'm 10 years old. I learned this year that out of 569 people that have flown in space, only 12 have been to the moon. This is a picture of the turtle that I drew, and I drew an origami dog because I like origami and dogs. I drew the Navajo shell pattern because I'm Navajo. I drew a Lego brick because I love playing and building with Legos. I drew the Greek flag because I would take Greek lessons and I'm Greek. I drew a soccer ball because I do a lot of sports. I drew a Chickasaw symbol because I am Chickasaw. I drew a gear because I enjoy coding. I drew a rose rock because Oklahoma is where I was born. And I drew a book because I love books. I learned about the missions in space like Gaia and Juno. And these are just random pictures that I liked. My favorite part of the program was doing all the cool experiments. My favorite guest speaker was Donnell Hogan because she shared interesting experiments that were really fun. That's a picture of it, one of them. And mine's experiment is called the Screaming Balloon.
Okay. Now, that was the lead up. Now let's get to space camp. That was so that's the training that they do. Before they get to space camp, we go through all of that. And part of the reason was I went to space camp as an adult for the first time. And when I got there, I didn't know very much. So I realized that a lot of the people already knew what like CSM meant and like auxiliary on, auxiliary off, all these terms like MECO. And so I realized that if I would have known this stuff before I went to space camp, even as an adult, I probably would have had more fun because I didn't quite understand some of the terminology. So that's why we do this training. That's why we have them. So when they get to space camp, they have equity and they're not down, lower and unequal. They're up and they have that equity so they know and they can feel confidence going in and not, it's a scary place, you know. Here's the one of the fun, more scary stuff. Little spooky. Okay, that's the multi-axis trainer, and this is what they had the Apollo astronauts do. And the purpose is the center of gravity is right in the middle, so you actually don't feel sick on it. You're just kind of spinning around, and you're not actually like moving. So you would think that you'd get dizzy or something, but it's not like that. You actually, I had vertigo before I went on it, and when I went on it, it actually fixed my vertigo because of all the twisting and the turning. So it's remarkably not sick inducing, even though you're just, you're spinning all over the place. Another thing that they do at space camp is they do a lot of rock climbing. I was going to see about the climbing. Oh, I don't remember. Sadie won the climbing. Okay, so this one is the 1/6 gravity chair. The moon has 1/6 gravity, so you're mimicking the same thing. And the astronauts were in this too, all suited up to try to see what it would feel like walking on the moon before they actually went up there. That one's pretty fun. You just kind of do bunny hops, and they make you go across one way and then another way. And you see that you can't, if you don't have some sort of motion, someone to push you, then you don't go very far. And one of the other things they have is they strap you up in a harness, and you're kind of floating and trying to work on whatever you're working on, whether it's like changing the solar array, or sometimes they give you these big like lug nuts that you have to screw on with gloves, so that way you can see what it's like for the astronauts to go out of the ISS or wherever and perform experiments. And it's, and keeping you up with those gloves on. Here is Maya fixing the solar array.
A little bit higher.
This is a little different than the other one.
Yeah,
As her.
go ahead and screw it in right here. There we go. Here you go. All right, so you can grab onto that. And you're going to want it placing the other way. So flip it upside down. Here, do you need to go back up? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, so once it doesn't move whenever you pull it, so as long as it doesn't come out when you pull, you're good.
What? They actually raced to the top too. This was kind of fun. So every night we would give the kids $3 because snack machines are popular at space camp. So we had people donate money and just give $3. So it wasn't a lot, but just so that way they can bond over chips and a soda or whatever in the nighttime. So they really, really like that. And it was only $3. So it was something simple and small like that made a really big impact. Let's see here. Oh, this is the last.
Taking up space is indigenuity. I'm building a bridge to the future because I'm working on a team with other Native American girls. I'm building a bridge to the future because I love art and my heritage. I'm building a bridge to the future because I'm curious about helping the earth.
Thank you, everyone. That's everything. If that's what would I have for you today? Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me here. Thank you to Roger Chaffee for giving his life for us and making it so that these girls could continue forth and just paving the road for all of us. So I'm very honored and I'm very thankful for being here. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, Czarina, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. If you would stop screen sharing now, I think people could see each other and we can have some Q&A. I know I was inspired by that wonderful talk, but I have some questions in the chat. So the first question is from Samantha Rhodes. Have you ever considered partnering with local Indigenous groups at local universities to increase the mentoring for your students?
Yeah, we thought of it. There's a couple of things. So there's two tribes here in Arizona, the Tono O'odham and the Pasquayaqui. One tribe is easier to work with just because the other tribe has less trust. I'm working with the less trustful tribe. So it's taken me, honestly, it's taken me years to be able to work with them. So I'm part of the family. So I definitely would like to get some help. I'm actually going back to school to get my master's in American Indian Studies. So hopefully we'll be able to create some connections in the future.
And that reminds me, I would like to invite you to put your link to your NGO in the chat in case people are interested. So, yep.
Thank you.
And then I noticed that it seemed like this program is all conducted on Zoom. Is that correct? Or is it just the last couple of years that have been on Zoom?
It was the last couple of years. We started off in person. And then when COVID hit, we had to pivot and put it all on Zoom. But that actually was good for us because we went from just being local to being national. So, now we're in like 6 states and we have all these different girls. And it's really neat because I don't think these girls would ever have met each other, or the probability of them meeting each other from all over the US would have been pretty low.
Yep. That's great. So I also noticed that, are there any other questions in the chat? Do you think that space has any particular symbolic significance that other forms of STEM may not have?
Yes and no. I mean, I love science and I love physics and cosmology, but space exploration, that exploration in general is something that for some reason is some human endeavor where we have the need to explore. We have this drive to see what's out in the cosmos. And there's just something unique, something like that makes you feel really small and yet really big at the same time. So it's incorporating kind of like the macro and the micro and your imagination, like, because there's a cool story in a couple of different tribes where they see the sky and it has a hole in it. So it's kind of interesting where they see, so it's not just the sky, there's a hole in the sky. So it's kind of interesting why is there a couple of tribes that see a hole in the sky? And there's this story about that it was cold and it was frozen and Earth was frozen for a very, very long time. And they're kind of wondering if that story comes from, Ice Age. And so it was very cold and there was this little animal. There was all these animals that knew that there's this bad person, this bad being that stole the birds. And when he stole the birds, he stole spring and summer. So all the other animals tried to punch through that hole to go save and rescue the birds. And, you had the bear do it because he was strong and he couldn't do it. And he had, all these animals thinking that they were going to do it. But it was this small little like vermin thing that actually was small enough and wiggly enough to go into the hole. And he released all the birds. And so all the birds came out. But just as he was running away, this ogre thing grabbed him and killed him. But he sacrificed himself for the rest of the world so we can have summer and spring again. So that's kind of like interesting. You've got interesting stories like that overlap with what I'm saying. Well, I think the question of just space and it being unique and interesting, and just how even the stories that Native Americans have about space are really interesting too.
So I think we're out of time now. We need to transition to the next speaker. But again, thank you so much, Serena, for being here with us.
Thank you
It was
so
an
much. Thank you.
inspirational
Thank you for
talk, and I wish we had more time for questions. So.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye-bye. So there's time for just some free time now while the next speaker is getting set up, and then we'll begin again at 3 o'clock.